all it take is a night in the yay. Little mama saying, hey, we on our way. Say she wanna get MIA. Know the team get paid, get money every day. Clippers, run it out, run it out. Stun it out, stun it out. Runners, work it out, work it out. Team gon' bring them out, bring them out. Team, don't say nothing.
Yo, what up, people? It's your boy ThaLiveKing coming at you with another video. And in this video, I just want to talk about something that FIFA does that I feel NBA Live should do. Basically, they use the way they have their CPU AI set up. So if you're playing the CPU, they don't have any type of advantage that the user doesn't have. So whatever input, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me just read what they've done with the AI, okay? And then we'll talk about it afterwards. So, added CPU AI only to the names of traits that only have an effect on players when they are controlled by the CPU AI. A refresher rate on what we mean by CPU AI. The CPU plays the game as you would, limited by the same input restriction that a human player has. This means that the CPU team has an active player just like you do, which we call the CPU AI control player. A CPU AI control player exists in the following circumstances on a team with no human players, for example, the CPU control team in squad battles. On a team with human players who are locked into a specific players that also has CPU teammates, for example, pro club teams with less than 11 human players with no any player. A CPU AI control player does not exist in the following circumstances on a team with human players who are not locked into a specific player, or for example, a team in FUT Champions. So to me, like, I've been playing a lot of FIFA over the last, I guess, year and a half. I've been playing a lot of FIFA 19 this year, and to me the gameplay is just fun, right? And it's not that it's just fun, it's that it also is competitive in a way where you don't feel that there's an advantage either way. Unless you're a lower end team and you're playing a good team, like, you're gonna get ran off the field anyway. So that's when you know that if you have two evenly matched teams, you're gonna have to use your skill in order to beat that opponent. Certain situations where I was playing the CPU on the highest difficulty in FIFA, it's like the only issue I had with it was that the passing was too on point. So if you want to play FIFA on the higher difficulty levels, I think it's called Legendary. There's World Class and then there's Legendary. So I know I played a few games on Legendary last year. I haven't done it this year. But I had some really good games, like 2-1 finals, final score games in FIFA on Legendary, just because they decided to do this with their game. And the thing about NBA Live, I feel that the CPU is overpowered already. And what if they would just, give the CPU those restrictions and allow the CPU to run their offense and defense based on, game context. Like, so you can do all your adjustments in the game. You can, have different matchups and stuff like that. So it would make the CPU be more aware like the user in a sense, because right now, like, if there's a glitch for certain players, like what's his name, like Goran Dragic, like, he will drop like 50. I'm going overboard, but he would drop like 27 points. He did drop 27 points on me in a half, Goran Dragic. So if he had the same type of input restrictions that the user have, then maybe he wouldn't have that much energy to, kill my team like that and play out of his element. Because at the end of the day, you don't want certain players to be overpowered. You only want the superstar players to be somewhat overpowered. When you have regular guys like Goran Dragic, he's a one-time all-star, but still, he doesn't drop. He averages 17 a game or something like that. So there's no way he should be averaging that many points in the game. So if you give the CPU the same type of restrictions as you give the user, I think the AI will be a lot smarter with the basketball. I think the AI will be smarter overall, because one thing I know about EA Sports games, because I play all of them, except for maybe Madden, but with NHL, with FIFA, with NBA Live, if you give the CPU restrictions, if the CPU knows it has restrictions, the CPU will play to try to find an advantage, rather than, you know, oh, you're not going to be able to stop me, so I'm just going to bully myself to the basket and score every time down. So it enables the CPU to play a lot smarter. It's more strategy based, and I think that if they do that for NBA Live, that more people will play on superstar difficulty, because as of right now, like, I play on All-Star and it's still somewhat cheesy, but it's not as bad as Superstar. Court battles is another thing, because if you had it for court battles, you can't run any plays in court battles. So a guy can set up his defense, you know, using the codes that he has, or the rules that he has set up, and the AI will play to those rules, right? But you have to play whatever, you have to try to do whatever you can to score, because you can't run any plays. So if you give the CPU restrictions and they only have certain type of they only have a certain game plan to follow, they will follow that game plan. And then maybe down the road you will insert ways on how the CPU can, you know, alter their offense and defense and make, you know, changes throughout the game, so that they don't just stick to one way of playing, right? So that's just how I'm seeing it, because the game has a lot of potential. Like, they've been going back and they've been editing a lot of stuff in the game, and they've been trying to balance it out. But I think the game is fine with user versus user, mainly in you know, live run and live events and stuff like that. I don't touch head to head, because I feel head to head is just too much AI controlled. Like, the CPU dictates way too much in head to head, so I don't like that. It's the same way in all the other games, like NHL. I don't even think you could control your line. You can control line changes, but you can't do manual line changes. So the CPU will, if the CPU feels that it needs to do a line change, they will do a line change. Like, there's nothing you can do unless you just change your lines throughout certain situations or whatever. So, but that's how they program their game. So I'm just hoping down the line that they can see that, like, court battles really tells you a lot about this game with the rules and stuff that they have laid out. If you guys look through all the rules that they have in court battles, a lot of that stuff could be applied to, like, NBA, like the NBA portion of the game, because, you know, it's a set way of a team playing a certain way. So if you want a team to be screen heavy, they're gonna play to that style. So maybe you know, me talking about this whole situation is that, you know, they can bring some of those court battles elements to the NBA side of the game. So, like, if you want to start a game plan at this, if you start the game and you're like, okay, how do I want this team to play? You can be like screen heavy, get your shots open, blah blah blah. All that stuff's in court battles. They can bring that stuff over to the NBA side. You know, me just sitting in front of the mic just thinking about this stuff, you know. Sometimes you just gotta brainstorm, but there's so much that they can do with this game that they can make the AI smarter. And I feel that having the CPU control a certain, having the AI have a CPU control player or whatever, is a good way to, if they haven't done it already. I just don't feel that it's part of the game. But if they do something like that, this game could be so much better. Because at the end of the day, NBA Live, they focus on gameplay, it's fine, but what they need to do is make the game a lot smarter. So they have stuff in the game. They just have to figure out how they can, you know, put these different aspects throughout the whole game, because the NBA side needs to be touched. A lot of the stuff that's in court battles, like I said, they can easily put that in the NBA side to plan your game, to have a game plan and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. This video is longer than I expected it to be, but sometimes when I start talking, I really don't stop. So what do you guys think of this idea? If you guys played FIFA, what do you guys think about the AI on the hardest difficulties compared to NBA Live? And just leave a comment down below, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next video. Alright, I'm out. Peace.
I got a confession. I possess the God particle, lock me up for possession. The relationship with God should be great for proper protection. If I am to show and prove, ain't no need to ask me no question. The segregation real, you should probably stay in your section.